So the House was voting on whether or not on the resolution to hold Steve Bannon in contempt for completely ignoring the House, the January 6th Select Committee's subpoena for him. Marjorie Taylor Greene said she's had enough of this whole accountability thing, and I can't believe you guys are actually trying to exercise personal responsibility. So she's had enough. So she meandered her way over and decided to yell a little bit at Representative Jamie Raskin and Representative Liz Cheney, just to give them a little piece of her mind. And there's a little piece of her mind. That's all it takes, is about 4 to 5 seconds. So let's go to the altercation that happened. There was no sound with this, but we could see it spot shadows how Marjorie Taylor Greene approached. There's the two spot shadows. Marjorie Taylor Greene's on the bottom there, and she approached Raskin and Liz Cheney there, and it went further. I'm gonna go to the details of what they were saying there. So Greene first pressed Raskin. He's who led the Democrats' prosecution of Trump during his impeachment, of course, we know that, asking him when he would investigate the violence surrounding the Black Lives Matter protests. That's according to Raskin. And he says, like with Kyle Rittenhouse, who went and killed 2 Black Lives Matter protesters, he said, I'm sure there'll be an opportunity for us to go get after that. And then Marjorie Taylor Greene says, this is a joke. Right, raising her voice, referring to the January 6th investigation and the Bannon contempt vote. Why don't you investigate something people actually care about? Because she knows what people care about. Liz Cheney then jumped in and she shot back at Greene and said that she was a joke and that she should be focusing on Jewish space lasers, which was a reference to the conspiracy theory, of course, that Marjorie Taylor Greene previously had promoted on Facebook, blaming space lasers controlled by a powerful Jewish family for starting the wildfires in California, because that makes a lot of sense. And there you have, apparently she had a live satellite view of these space lasers controlled by Jewish folks. And also, so in response to that, Marjorie Taylor Greene says, I never said that. You're done, you're a joke, is what she yelled at Cheney as she was leaving the chambers. I did see as she finished off and left the chambers, they got a little closer at one point, and maybe something could have jumped off. And she said, why don't you go investigate something that matters to the American people? And she's now in repetition mode for the things that she likes to say when someone disagrees with her. So again, I always bounce back and forth between people like Gates and Marjorie Taylor Greene and the Jim Jordans of the world as to their actual anger versus what they see as an opportunity to promote themselves, because that's always their number one focus, is promoting themselves, getting into fights, starting things. We've seen Marjorie Taylor Greene do this all over the place in the halls of Congress, now on the floor. She just does these things and then goes on TV to start talking about it. Before we go to her talking about it, first I want to hear what you guys have to say.
So what high school was this again, where these kids were fighting like this? I missed the name, but no, this is, look, this is so nuts. And I've been using that word nuts far more recently than I think I ever have in my entire life, because everything is getting so ridiculous. And that is the only way to describe this. But you're totally right. Marjorie Taylor Greene kind of does these things. Has these big flare-ups, like a couple weeks ago when she goes and yells at him on the steps of Congress and then walks away like, I got him. No, you're nutty. If Republicans had any sense at all, they would just get rid of her. She is a huge liability for them. She's in a safe red district. You could kick her out and nobody's gonna bat an eye. You're still gonna win that district no matter what. And you get rid of this massive liability that you've got walking around making a fool of herself every time she opens her mouth. But of course, they're never gonna do that, because Marjorie Taylor Greene is more welcome in the party now than Liz Cheney is.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah, they've completely taken over. Again, it used to be they used to do a wink and the nod to the lunatic fringe, and now they're just in the driver's seat. They're just straight up running the entire party from the top on down. I'm just confused how the Jews could come up with space lasers. They're secretly behind Black Lives Matter. They're making the best pastrami sandwiches in the world. These people are busy, man. Jesus Christ.
Hey, maybe we could get them to work on those prop guns. If they can make a space laser, they can make a prop gun that's not gonna kill somebody.
It makes you wonder, so
work on it, Soros.
The end game in these types of accusations, like it's not to actually get to a actual focused point. It's just to have a general negative view of certain folks in certain situations. Now, Farron, you mentioned the high school that where this all happened. I was thinking more middle school, but just in case you guys can make this decision. Marjorie Taylor Greene then went on Steve Bannon's show, who she was trying to defend during that vote, and decided to tell him how cool she is. Because you see what I did to her face? Here, let's listen.
So then the vote took place, and of course, here they are celebrating, voting to hold an innocent American in contempt because you didn't go answer the subpoena and show up to their fake committee. Afterwards, when it was over, I was standing in the well on the House floor, and I had just had it listening to them lie over and over again, accusing you of organizing the January 6th riot. So I yelled at them on the House floor. I let Liz Cheney have it. I let Adam Schiff have it, and I let Raskin have it. I couldn't contain myself, and I said, you people are a joke. You don't care about the American people. You don't care about what the American people went through with BLM riots all over America, burning cities to the ground, burning businesses, looting, all the crime committed. You don't care about the police officers that were attacked in those communities. And they just like laughed it off as if I had nothing important to say.
I can't believe they just laughed you off like that. It's amazing. Like you have nothing important to say. This is outrageous. Can't believe that. So good, she's retelling her story. Yeah, I really talked to him. I told him what's up. And then after that, she went and told Jennifer, oh, well, no, I don't like her. This is supposed to appeal to voters? Is this supposed to appeal to voters? Are people supposed to then go the next time they're voting for Greene and go, oh, I remember that one time that she went on Steve Bannon's show and bragged about how she got into a fight with Liz Cheney. That was awesome. I like what she does for me. I guess to a degree it works. Look, she's here now, and it's not like she pulled a bait and switch on everyone. It's not like she came in with policy ideas and intelligence and then came in and flipped the script and became this idiot. She was an idiot from the beginning. This is what they wanted, this is what they've got.
Well, she's an idiot who ran unopposed and still didn't even get 75% of the vote. So, we got to remember that part too. She didn't have anybody to run against. Even in my deep red district here, if I ran unopposed, I could probably do pretty well. But now she's got, how many people have lined up so far? I think 7. There's 7 people that are lined up, 4 of them Republicans, to challenge her in next year's Republican primary. So, there's a chance. There's definitely not a chance that the Democrat or the Libertarian candidates are going to take the district, but there's a chance a different Republican might. So that's what I want to see. We know the voters in that county, that district, picked her because there was literally no other choice. So what happens when they're given the choice? Do they stick with the crazy, or do they finally say no? Because right now you can have a little bit of sympathy for that district, but if they pick her again when there are other options, no, y'all, this is you now. If this is what you choose again.
I'm just really amused by the Steve Bannon of it all, because he is just such a fascinatingly ridiculous figure. Every time I see him, I think of that meme that was circling around, back when Trump first got reelected. There's all these pictures of Bannon looking haggard, and it's next to a picture of Idris Elba, and the meme says, one of these guys thinks he's part of the master race. I always just think about that picture whenever I see Steve Bannon and the stuff that he's on.
Well, and I was thinking, the Steve Bannon angle I was thinking was, who else? I mean, put yourself in a position. Everyone can start a quote podcast now. Anyone can go on the internet and start a live video. Anyone can go on and start talking every day for 35, 40 minutes to an hour and be like, I have a show, right? Anyone can do it. I'm not downgrading that. But imagine if you ignored subpoenas from the government, from the House of Representatives about a serious investigation, and then people start defending you just because, and then you go on your podcast or on your show and have these same crazies on and talk about how much I almost fought on the House floor for you while you're breaking the law. And that's still, this is something that's gonna get you some clout. These are positive developments for them. They think, this is an opportunity. There's a criminal here, he has a show, I get to talk about how much of a criminal he is, and I defended him. This is the Republican Party. I feel like he was sitting there going, shh, yeah. My producers had you on, but please stop talking. Who knows where this is gonna go, but these guys need to eventually figure out a way to make sure that they, I think, rein this in. She's, as you mentioned, Farron, I don't think she's gonna necessarily win or what her strategy is gonna be in the election year. But she needs to come up with something else besides, I got in a fight with everybody. Because that's her platform right now. Marjorie Taylor Greene, I get in a fight with everybody. That's the way this works.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.